Dear students, today we are going to discuss on a topic called coming of age. In certain universities, in the undergraduate and the graduate level, we find it as coming of age novels. It's generally a course. Nevertheless, in most of the universities, they just say it coming of age. So the main term that is associated to today's discussion is coming of age. When I say coming of age, uh, it gives an association to a German term called Bildungsroman. However, there are certain confusion regarding the correct pronunciation to this particular word. Some people say Bildungsroman, but the most commonly used or the correct usage of pronunciation is based on the word called Bildungsroman. It's a German word and it is well rooted in Germany. When I say Bildungsroman, it is giving a clear picture of coming of age. This term, Bildungsroman, it means that novel of education or novel of information. So the term Bildungsroman is connecting to novels. However, coming of age also can be rooted to drama, it can be poetry, or any other genre of literature. But generally, we're talking about coming of age novels. So when I say coming of age, we are talking about a particular scenario or a prospect of youth when a person is growing up, especially from early teenage to post teenage, or and then maturing to the next level, we see there are certain transitions in the children. It can be in Germany, it can be in Europe, it can be any English speaking nation, and most importantly, it can be in Bangladesh also. When a child is moving on from the early teenage to teenage and then moving on to the next matured level, we see there are certain transition or changes in the mindset, in the way of behavior, and we also see a certain level of vulnerabilities in those students on those children concerned. See, you students are studying in English honors, masters, or maybe you have graduated. You see, even when you entered the university and then when you passed out the university or while you are pursuing the degree, you see there's a change in your behavior. There's a change in your thoughts. There's a change in your way of talking, communication, the way of perception. Everything is going through change. It's going through a transition. And this is because of coming of age. When I'm talking about Bildungsroman, it generally means that you're going through a phase of change. That means throughout this age or throughout this period, you can be having a lot of doubts in your mind. You can be having confusions. You have an earlier preset mindset that is already set in your mind that you have derived from your friends, your neighbors, your society, or your family, because your family is regarded as the first source of education for you. So you're learning things from them. You are naturally getting a pre-decided mindset from there. But gradually, when you go to the colleges, university, you see you're mixing with so many types of people. You're coming across lots of situations. These situations are making you a more matured person. So while transforming into from a less mature person to a more mature person, you go through changes. You go through different lessons and learnings. These lessons are mostly based on your psychological mindset. For example, you always thought that education is easy, but after coming to the university, you found out that it's a bit difficult. So you see, this is the preset mindset. And then when you came to the university, you realize something else. This realization is good. Whenever you realize something true, whenever you realize something, it is established in your mind. This is also a part of coming of age. When a child is maturing, is going through changes. Throughout these changes, you will come across challenges, you'll come across vulnerabilities, you'll come across so many good and bad situations. When you talk about the psychological and sexual development of an individual, you generally have to go back to Sigmund Freud's psychosexual development. According to Sigmund Freud's psychosexual development, a mind and a body transitions, changes, grows simultaneously with time. That means with age, your mind and body are both growing. So this process of growth is giving you a change in your mindset. It is also giving you a change in your perception. This is also part of coming of age. We are talking about a certain phase of an individual where you are going through a development. You are having realization. You are realizing certain new truths. And when you realize these truths, it becomes set in your mind, or you become sure about this. This is an established fact or established realization. There are various novels which talk about coming of age. For example, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Then you have The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. You have Sylvia Plath's Bell Jar. So these are the popular novels that are taught in the universities at the tertiary level whenever we have a course called coming of age novels. In some universities, they do not use the term novel because the coming of age is mostly denoted towards novels. Because itself in Germany, it's called the novel for information, the novel for education. Because you are becoming informed, you are being educated through this phase of transition. You are learning something new. And this phase of learning, it gives you a new experience. You are nurturing yourself. You are nurtured by the surrounding, and you also nurture yourself. You are going through a process of conditioning. Your behavior is being affected by your surrounding. You are impacted by the surrounding. When your behavior is coinciding with the surrounding, this is called behaviorism. You're going through certain level of conditioning. You are interacting with the environment. So this process of interaction gives you a realization. It makes you more matured. You are being nurtured by a surrounding and also by yourself. This is called the coming of age. This is a time of self realization. So, whenever we go through a process of realization, you always do not have a good experience. Sometimes you can have bad experience. You can go through hurdles, obstacles, and bad phases of life. And sometimes it also can go through a smooth level. So, this all depends on your luck, your surrounding, and your behavior too. But through this phase of learning, you mature as a person. You learn certain things which are new. So whenever you study these novels by Mark Twain, especially The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, or you learn or you study uh, Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar. So from there you'll understand how the characters go through these phases of transition, and they improvise themselves as an individual. They learn certain new. They understand about the bitterness, the realizations of truth. So this is a phase of learning, self-realization. So you come across the bitter truths and you establish yourself as a more mature person. So this is called the coming of age. When you go through hurdles, obstacles, you are going through some sexual development, your mind is improving, and most importantly, you are maturing as a person. So we all have gone through this phase of coming of age. This is a phase we learn certain things new, we learn certain truths, and this make us more mature as an individual. So I hope Bildungsroman or the term coming of age are quite clear to you. Thank you.